fucking family. Anyway, yeah, we're here. And you know why we're here? Because snow, sleet, rain, shit, and dumbass Republicans, Trumpicans won't stop us from getting the job done, America. That's right.
It's a snow show.
It's a snow show here on a Wet My Whistle. We heat Wednesday, and they will be neither because, God damn it, we need some clarity, and we need it now. Okay, that is the redoubtable one, my friend. I love this guy, and I love these shit. And here comes my daughter to screw up my recording as we speak. What? And she walks out in her pajamas, probably freezing her butt off. Do you have socks on?
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, you're gonna get sick.
Yeah, you're gonna get sick.
Where's my vitamins?
I didn't grab your vitamins.
I thought you said you put them out.
I forgot to put them out.
Well,
hold that thought. In fact, why don't you regale them with one quick little tale about what happened yesterday while I come right back. By the way, I'll give you a hint. It starts with a T. Go.
Is this about what I think it's about?
Okay, so what the highly questionable one it's talking about
Is it about what I think it's about?
Yep.
is Trump holding a press conference at Mar-a-Lago that was about some of the executive orders that he was, writing into law or whatever the fuck he does. He loves signing those things. But, how he brings reporters in, the reporters that he likes, to Mar-a-Lago, and allows them to ask questions. And they started asking him about the Ukraine, and immediately you could kind of see his tone was very much neutral to on the side of Russia. Probably more leaning towards being on the side of Russia than neutral. Because he spent 3-4 minutes blasting Zelensky, I think that's his name, the president of Ukraine, and blasting their leadership for the fact that they've allowed a war to continue for 3 years. They've allowed it as if a nation that size, is even fighting a fair fight against a nation the size of Russia. Even though, of course, they're getting funding from us, other countries in Europe. So he crushed their leadership. He crushed the fact that, we're spending so much money sending it to them. Other countries aren't sending as much. If you want to argue that stuff, cool. But publicly saying those things, as opposed to simply, denying everything about Putin and calling him what he is, which is a fucking soulless, cowardice dictator. Instead of doing that, he basically sings their praises and shits all over Ukraine, their people, their leadership, and then talks about how, I used to have conversations with Putin, and Ukraine was the apple of his eye. And I told him, don't go in there. Don't go in there. He said he wouldn't. He would have never gone in if I was president. Okay, well, he did. Now you're president again. But you're not doing anything but blowing him. Okay? And then we had an argument amongst friends because at one point in the speech, a reporter asked, what do you think about the Ukrainians who feel betrayed because they don't have a spot at the table? Now that you're talking to Saudi Arabia, or maybe it's in Saudi Arabia and he's talking to Russia, and Ukraine has no part in these talks. And he says, you've been there for 3 years. You could have made a deal. You should have never started it. Okay?
The whole world heard that comment.
He said that. You should have never started it.
World heard that comment.
Their country was invaded by a much larger, stronger nation. An ally of the U.S. was invaded. And instead of denouncing that, he spent minutes basically shitting on Ukrainian leadership. Even said, Russia has asked, Russia has said, one of the reporters said, Russia has said they don't want to have any peace, agreement until elections are held in Ukraine, which is complete horseshit. They want to try to install leadership that leans towards Russia and gives them what they want. Now, Ukraine has a constitution that says when martial law is in place, when you're in the middle of a war, you don't hold elections. You can't. They're fucking. Nope. They're under attack. What the fuck? No. You can't even do it safely. And Trump, instead of going, yeah, that's not happening. Trump says, well, it's been a while since they've had an election. He's He's been in there for a while. I mean, that's not coming from Russia. That's coming from us and other countries. What the fuck? Why are you spitting Russian propaganda? These are talking points that Russia has come up with to try to fucking shift the focus. And this puppet, which is what he is, that's what he is.
He's a puppet.
He's a puppet for a lot of people. And anyone he's a puppet for is a terrible person and a powerful person. So, but the argument between us and some friends was whether or not he blamed the war on Ukraine. And to me, there's no denying the fact that he said you should have never started it. But beyond that, the whole tone of that press conference yesterday was kind of like hanging Ukraine out to dry, which is pathetic. So now you talk.
By the way, this is IDD, and I don't disagree with one syllable that just came out of his mouth. It is a Wet My Whistle Weed Wednesday, and no, there will be none of that tonight because the world needs to understand something. Our friends and family need to understand something because here's the problem with this. And this includes my family, who I still love, but I told them off at Christmas. I told them what would happen if this asshole got into office. I said the two winners of this election, I said it before the election, would be Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Go look at Elon Musk's bank account since November 5th, and now look what's happening and call me a liar. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the one thing that even the dumbest of Trumplicans agreed upon was that Vladimir Putin was a snake in the grass. Everyone agreed on that one thing. Vladimir Putin is bad news. There wasn't one Trumplican I talked to that thought he was a good dude, that liked him. No one liked Vladimir Putin. That was the one thing that was 100% across the board. Yet here we are, and this guy, this felon that I told you about is doing exactly what I told the people that, and I told you, okay? Because some of you heard this at Christmas, that this is what was going to happen when this came up. They haven't even started negotiating yet, and he's talking about, well, they can't join NATO, and they're not going to be able to give back their land. That 2014, that you can forget about that. That's not realistic. They haven't even begun negotiating yet, which means...
And he's already conceded
He's already conceded stuff to this guy, and what are we getting in return? Oh, they'll stop the fight. Fuck you, and fuck you. Okay, history will show, okay, that in the reason, this is what Donald Trump, this is what I can tell you, he was a bad student. NATO, the formation of NATO, which came about in the aftermath of World War II, has kept the peace among the superpowers for going on 80 years now because of our alliance with NATO. It was in our best interest in 1945. It's in our best interest in 2025. I kept telling people our borders were Europe, okay? And then on the other side, it was Japan, it was the Philippines, it was Australia. Our borders are not the ocean because we understand that we don't want to see bloodshed on our soil ever again. Okay? We don't want to go through it. All right? The Civil War was enough. We don't want to see it anymore. Okay? And that wasn't enough. There was a civil rights movement. That was a smaller thing. World War II. We don't want to see it again. And now this clown, okay, because he thinks he can buy Greenland and get the Panama Canal, like that's no, and no. Okay? None of that matters. What matters right now is that Article 5, which is in the NATO treaty, when any nation gets attacked, all the 32 of them now, by the way, will join together against whoever it is that attacks any one of those countries. The only time it was exercised was when we got attacked on 9/11, and all those countries jumped in to help us. And this donkey has a short memory because we owe them for that. And by the way, they fought an unjust war if you study your damn history. Okay, but they joined us anyway because the treaty was the treaty and they honored it. Now, because, they're not technically in NATO, even though they've been trying to get in there since 2014, by the way. This didn't just happen.
Why can't they get in?
I don't know. They're saying because there are people inside Ukraine that are on the Kremlin side on some things, and they're afraid of that. Well, then bring them in. All the more reason to bring them into NATO. Because if they're in NATO, they can't violate that stuff. They can't do it.
What, they feel like it'll infiltrate?
I don't know why it would, but that's kind of been the whole, at least that's what I read. Okay, I didn't get very far. But the point is this. Donald Trump is on the wrong side of this again, okay? And he turns around in front of the whole world and blames the victim.
Yeah.
And that could be the most unpresidential thing I've ever heard come out of a president's mouth. Okay?
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable crazy. And the thing is, he's only been in office a month. I have no doubt he can outdo that. He's already blaming Biden for the inflation that's now on his watch. When Biden left office, inflation was at 2.4%.
He also blamed Biden for some of the war, too.
Yeah, he blamed Biden. This guy never takes responsibility for anything. Okay, that deal he did with the Taliban, that was a shitty deal. He had him over Camp David, and Biden took the blame for that. Okay, but that deal was a joke. Okay, so stop it with this. The bottom line is Donald Trump is and you know the general said it. General James Kelly, Massachusetts guy, said it. This guy admires Putin. He admires Hitler. He wants to be a dictator. He wants to be in power. And look at what he's done in the first month. He's trying to knock down all the checks and balances that get in his way from being an authoritarian dictator. And you donkeys don't know how to read, so you don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You never read the Constitution. You don't care about the Constitution. Okay, all you care about is your gas and your groceries. By the way, how's that looking? Anyone? Yeah, crickets. Crickets. Fucking crickets.
All they say is, we had to pivot.
Yeah, pivot my ass. So look it. And I didn't want to go on a political tirade tonight, but after what's happened the past 48 hours, it needs to be said. Okay? And it's being said by everyone with a brain. Donald Trump needs to take his head out of his ass right now, or the Republican Party needs to start filing impeachment papers, because this is the worst thing of all the things he could do. If he destroys NATO, or if he takes us out of Europe, we need Europe as much as they need us. They're part of our economy. They've been our friends forever. And when we needed them back in 2001, they didn't hesitate. We owe them. Forget the fucking money, Donald. We are the #1 economy in the world. Psst. We don't need the money. We don't need the money. If Donald Trump gave a shit about people, okay, if he gave a shit about his countrymen, okay, he'd start talking about raising the minimum wage to a living wage. He'd start talking about lower taxes. He'd start talking about retirement age at 60. And he wouldn't let this fucking asshole Musk go near.
Healthcare.
Yeah, reforming healthcare. He wouldn't let Musk go near Social Security and Medicaid. He wouldn't let him touch it. He doesn't give a shit. All he wants, it's a money grab. He wants to go after everyone that went after him when he was in office. By the way, he was found convicted 34 times. So they weren't wrong by the letter of the law. But he broke it, and that's all he knows how to do is break the law. And he's very bad at it, given he's been convicted 34 times. Okay?
So just rich and powerful enough it doesn't hurt him.
Doesn't hurt him. I keep saying this, the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Here's the tough part about this whole situation is that there's a ton that you can debate about politics.
Sure there is.
There's a lot, and from a Republican, Democrat, Independent, just a policy side, there's so many things you can disagree on and say, hey, these programs don't work. We shouldn't spend money in these areas. But how can you be on the side of a Russian dictator?
And you're American? You call yourself an American?
There's just no way.
There's no way.
How can you look at a country who is one of our allies, as far as I've always heard, in the Ukraine, small country, get invaded by one of our nemesis? Nemesis? And now, our leader is talking about that dictator as if he's a friend and a colleague and somebody he's gonna, negotiate with. Fuck that.
There's no negotiation.
How is, especially from the Republicans?
Yeah, this is a joke.
How has the Republican Party turned into this?
Ronald Reagan, George Bush would never, ever have sided with this man.
No.
No way in hell.
No administration ever would have.
John McCain would shoot him himself.
No Democratic administration, no Republican administration.
And by the way, NATO was a bipartisan agreement. All the Republicans and Democrats agreed on that together. That wasn't a vote. It was all across the board. No, there wasn't a defending a vote. It was unanimous on NATO. Republicans and Democrats. Now this guy, in the face, because it won't stop there, Poland will be next. You don't understand. And what message does this send to China? What does it send to Iran? What does it send to everybody? North Korea? If we're going to sit here and go, hey, we can be bought. The United States can be bought for $275 million. Just ask Elon Musk. It's true. It's fucking true. Okay? And it should disgust everyone here as an American and you people that voted for him. Here's the problem. You would rather die on that hill than admit you were wrong. We're a month in. You've already been proven wrong. We're a month in. You've already been proven wrong. The fact that he called Russia first tells you you're wrong. The fact that he did what he did today or yesterday when he blamed Zelensky tells you you're wrong. You're wrong.
Crazy.
Wrong. 100% wrong. Hey, Bev, Gil, Jeff, Lisa, John, you're wrong. Okay? Cousin John, wrong. You're all wrong. Okay? And you can't accept it. Or maybe you guys can, because I'm hoping you guys are watching this wherever you are and you're going, shit, OJ was right. Or shit, forget me. Maybe I was wrong about this guy. Oh, no, you were. You were. And by the way, this is the thing. if this goes the way I think it's going to go, and Europe does rise up and give them all the funding they need, because here's the thing that you don't know. Russia is losing this war. They've lost twice as many men as we lost in World War II. They are losing this war.
It's a chance to put them down.
They are ready to break it. All Donald Trump, if he had any balls between his legs, had to do, or actually, again, Vladimir, to his point, they helped him win this election, so he owes them. Okay, all he would have to do is go back every damn troop out of here now. There'll be no negotiation. In fact, not only will we give them what we're giving them, we'll give them more. We'll give them some of the toys you haven't seen yet. Or maybe we'll just drop a few B-2s of our own over there and wipe out whatever you got left. Because we could do that just like that, and Russia could do nothing about it. And Joel, get off your fucking... He's got his hand on the finger. Vladimir Putin is not going to end the world. That's not the legacy he wants. Okay? It's not the... And by the way, if he does, there'll be no one here to tell it. So the bottom line is, he ain't going to do that. He ain't going to do that. That's a load of shit. Bullies only respond to strength. And if Donald Trump was half the man you idiots thought he was, that would have been the call he made, and he'd been doing it with Zelensky standing right next to him. But he's not a man, he's a sample.
I don't understand how... Well, I do understand. But it's just, it's embarrassing to see somebody act so strong and so tough.
He's not.
And be weak in the face of a bully.
He's a draft-dodging coward. That's a fact. He's a draft-dodging coward who said, again, I'll say it for the slow people, Joel and Chris, when asked about John McCain, a real fucking hero and a good man, okay? He said, I like my heroes uncaptured. That fucking coward. That fucking coward of cowards.
Here's the
Fuck
thing.
him.
Here's the thing that I'll admit about my weakness. I could understand wanting to dodge a draft. I could. Because going to war is scary. Okay.
Don't turn around though.
But don't turn around
and give a guy
fucking shit on
a war hero who did that, who sacrificed everything for his country.
I
John
mean, that's
McCain.
pathetic.
John McCain's a class act. Say what you will about how good all his politics, but he's a good man. And for you to fucking say that about him, any Republican with a spine should have heard that and said, "This guy can't be president."
Exactly.
He's a coward. He's a fucking coward. Okay? So anyway, that's going to do it for segment one because I'm going to fucking punch this screen in a second. I'm so mad. Okay?
It's us,
The bottom line is, Chris, Joel, I still love you, but here's the thing. Take your heads out of your ass. Take your heads out of your ass because deep down you know this is wrong. Okay? And Kamala Harris, by the way, called it, and I put that clip up for you to see. She called it right there in the debate that she wiped his ass, wiped her ass with his face. She wiped her ass with his face in that. You guys, people didn't want her because she was a woman. That's the truth. She was a woman.
How could she be doing a worse job right now?
No fucking way.
How?
This would never. She'd have told him, get the fuck out of here. Or, by the way, this is already a declaration of war. By the way, we'll put him in NATO tomorrow, and there'll be B-2 bombers on your doorstep. Back off now. That's what she does. She has more balls than he does. Okay, and she does, trust me.
No doubt.
So anyway, segment 2 coming right up. The Boston Red Sox have a problem, and I hope Alex Cora is the man to solve it. But if not, there may be an ace in the hole. Segment 2 coming right up. Beep, beep, big pipey.